Hello, thanks for joining today's webinar. You can enlarge your screen for the optimal viewing experience using these buttons. You can also click the arrow here to view the hidden menu. The section at the very bottom will twirl out a menu that allows you to ask questions for the host to answer. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this webinar.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany, and with me today is Christina, and we are the product managers of TaxBandits. We also have our video audio guy, Caleb, and with us we also have Amber, our guest star today.
Hola.
We are talking about the BOI report. Now, one quick reminder for everyone, like always, we are an IRS authorized e-file provider. We have years and years of experience. We love to talk about taxes. We are not tax advisors. If you have specific questions, make sure to reach out to the IRS or a certified tax preparer, but we can go ahead and get started. So we are talking about the BOIR today. Obviously, Tiffany and I are more familiar with it, but we are really excited to have our special guest, Amber, to ask some questions just about everything BOIR.
I'm excited to learn.
So what do you want to know?
Okay, so I think my first question would be just what is the BOIR?
Well, the BOIR is the Beneficial Ownership Information Report, which started with the Corporate Transparency Act. It was created to improve financial transparency and eliminate money laundering and other similar crimes.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh, indeed.
Uh-oh, indeed. And another acronym you will hear a lot when you're talking about the BOIR is FinCEN. This is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and you report to FinCEN.
Okay. So, again, because this is so new, I'm not sure what a beneficial owner is. Like, what does that even mean?
So the beneficial owner is going to be any individual who either directly or indirectly, I know it's very vague, who exercises substantial control over a reporting company or owns or controls at least 25% of the ownership interest of the company. So with it being 25%, like there could be more than one beneficial owner for more complex entities, but really like at its core, the beneficial owner is who is controlling this company and like their name, their details, like that's kind of what it's looking. And we can go into more of like what's needed for the report, but that is who it's talking about. Like it wants to know, tell me about your business, tell me about who's in control of it.
Okay. So there could be more than one, depending on how the company's set up. And that is at the state level?
It's really like it's not federal versus state. Like it's the company itself. Like it shouldn't matter. The FinCEN is at the federal level.
Okay.
But as far as like how the company is set up, like that I would think would be the same across the board, regardless of if you're looking at it like federal, state, locality. Like it should just be who is in control of your company, because and what we'll find out is like there are companies that are large enough that they're excluded. And so like you wouldn't necessarily have to like if you have multiple locations, like you might not even fall into this if that was kind of what you were thinking.
Yeah.
And even if you did, like on some level, even if you had different locations in different states, like you still have to have somebody that's in charge of the whole thing, right? So like you would have to kind of figure out who your beneficial owner would qualify as, but there should still be one or more people that are primarily controlling that entity.
Gotcha. Okay. You kind of just touched on it a little bit, but are there exemptions? Like are some companies exempt from filing at all?
There are actually a lot of exemptions. So there's 23 exemptions, and depending on where you fall, a lot of these are going to be like banking organizations, financial organizations. And you have to meet a set of criteria to fall into those exemptions. So if you, for example, number 21, there are 6 criteria that you have to qualify for to fall into that exemption.
Gotcha.
If you fall into 5 out of the 6, you don't qualify for the exemption.
And is that the large operating company
It is.
exemption?
That is
Because she's right. A lot of them are financial related institutions. So they already have some kind of like check and balance system in place. The large operating companies, that is a big one because that's going to take out a lot of the companies that you would think of, like, you know, any name brand like company,
Claire's.
store, yes, like that's going to take out like Target, like Lowe's, Claire's, like it's like your big corporations. That's not who this is focused for. But it, like to Tiffany's point, you can't just say that you're a large operating company. Like there are 6 subpoints that you have to meet. And it's things like operating in the U.S., like having a physical location in the U.S. Like you have to have a certain amount of gross receipts that has to be like before you include any foreign received financial income. Like there's a whole list of things. Government entities, like some nonprofit organizations, like there are entities that fall under those exemptions. But the BOI is interesting because it's like everybody has to do it unless you don't. Instead of all of the other forms that we support for the most part, it's like, yes, you have to do it because da-da-da-da-da, instead of you don't have to because of these things.
So what if a company is like located outside of the United States, but they do business in the U.S.? Do they still have to file?
They could still have to file. And there are actually 2 different types of reporting companies that may have to complete the BOI report. And so you've like hit the nail on the head with that question. Good. Yeah. Because what you're talking about is a foreign reporting company. And so foreign reporting companies would be literally what you described. It's a company that is actually like located outside of the U.S., but they fall under like having operations in the U.S. that could make them responsible for completing the BOI if they don't like meet one of the exemptions, essentially.
Interesting. Okay. So what kind of information do I need to have to be able to be prepared to file this report?
So information needed. It's a lot like the other forms that we support, for any of our existing TaxBandits clients or any company that is already in existence. Like they need their EIN, they need their company name, they need their address, the basic business details. They also, instead of needing, like for a 1099, for example, that we need the vendor information, we need the recipient details. It's almost like instead of needing that information, you need the beneficial owner details. So it's still an individual. You still need the name and the TIN and the address, but it's almost like replacing that aspect of it. Does that kind of make sense? The other big part with the BOI that's not needed for other things is you have to have that beneficial owner's ID, which becomes a little bit complicated for a lot of companies, or really more on like the preparer side of things. Because if you're a preparer, you know who is handling the company. Like you're probably working directly with them, or you've like associated with them on some level because it's going to be a smaller company and they're your client, right? So you have their name, you probably have their TIN, you have their address details, but what you don't have is their ID. And so that makes this really different, and that kind of poses like a hurdle, if you will, is getting like that state issued driver's license or passport or whatever it may be.
And I have a question like later just talking about the benefits of filing with TaxBandits, and I feel like we can circle back to that.
Why, yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. That is going to wrap this up beautifully. So I'm required to file if I have a business, pretty much, unless I fall under the exemptions. And where can I find those?
Well, TaxBandits, actually, I know who would have thought, but we provide all kinds of helpful information, including what the exemptions are. And we actually have something on our site to help you determine if you fall into those exemptions.
Perfect. Okay. And then I know the information that I need. And then, so what kind of BOI reports, like how often do I have to file it? And is it like an annual thing, quarterly thing? Like how often do I need to file this?
It's actually just a one-time form unless something changes. So if your beneficial owners change, then you want to go in and do an updated form. Okay.
So I can do the one-time form and the updates through TaxBandits too?
You can, and you can correct your form, and you can also file a newly exempt if you find out that you now fall under the exemption.
Okay.
So for, let's say, example, for the 21st exemption, if you didn't have 20 before, but you have 27 now, and the rest of them still apply, you now are newly exempt. So you can go in and update your BOI report, and you're now exempt.
Okay, that's cool. So what about deadlines? So I'm supposed to file this by what date?
The BOI report is interesting because there's not just like one deadline. It's not like, January 31st, 1099s, be there.
Or be square.
Thank you, because that's really the rest of what played out in my head. But For the BOI report, because it's new, the IRS has done, they kind of have a tendency to give like a little bit of a grace period with a lot of things when they're adding a new requirement. So if you have a company that was registered before January 1st, 2024, they're actually giving you until January 1st, 2025 to get it reported. So if your company has been around and you do not fall into one of the exemptions, like this is the time to get that done. Like you are running out of time to get that done.
The clock is ticking.
Correct. Because and one of the things we had, quick side note, but still on topic. One of the things we had talked about kind of throughout the year, and like with this conversation in mind, is like FinCEN updates. And a lot of people were looking for this BOI report to go away. And that's not happening. Like we are far enough in the year. It's very clear, like all of the powers that be that are speaking on it have been pretty clear that this is not going anywhere. So January 1st, 2025, be there or be square.
Yes. You probably should just do it now.
You should just do it now.
In case things change before the end of the year.
You also have...
And we have Halloween and Thanksgiving and my birthday.
Yes, all of
Christmas.
The December holidays, correct.
Christmas.
But especially your birthday.
It's going to fly by.
People have anniversaries, people go on vacation. Like people that you need information from to do the report are going to be on vacation at different times that you're on vacation. If you're a preparer, maybe you're trying to go on vacation. Like, so now is the time.
Yes.
Is really the point. Like, do it now, be done with it. Don't put it off.
So what about
back to the deadlines?
Yeah, like if they created, like if somebody started their business in February of this year, 2024,
they get 90 days.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. So it goes from a whole year to like, okay, you're new. We know you're new. We know this wasn't required before. We'll give you 3 months is really what's happening. They get a 90-day window.
Okay.
And then if that shocked you, wait for this. Because if you create your business in 2025 or future years, you get 30 days. So it's now basically part of registering your company. Like it's not part of registering it, but like you should be doing all of this at the same time kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like you knew it was coming, so you got 30 days.
Exactly. And so that, I mean, it's, and to Tiffany's point of like, it could be one and done. It's not really annual. There also could be a lot of them.
Right.
Like you might have to do several in a year. You could have to do only one ever, or like if your company is moving, if your beneficial owner changes a lot, which that happens, like if you add a new beneficial owner, if somebody is no longer, like there are all kinds of things that, again, we're not tax advisors, but there are all kinds of things that we're aware would cause you to have to go in and update something.
Okay.
So especially for preparers, like even though these are the deadlines, like that same 30-day window applies to getting corrected reports filed, to getting updated reports filed. Like there are things that you need to be aware of regularly. It's not like you can register like this and you can register the business one time and be done. So just something to keep in mind.
And then, so you talked about preparers. So are there preparers who are doing this for clients?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we've actually worked with quite a few of them. A lot of our clients that were already using TaxBandits who are preparers are completing the BOI report for their clients.
Okay. So that's something that TaxBandits works with too, is the CPAs or the tax preparers who are filing on behalf of their clients. And so TaxBandits is prepared to handle that kind of volume as well?
Oh, absolutely. We handle a lot. We have clients that are like in the millions of forms. So the volume is not a problem for TaxBandits. It might be a problem for you if you're not prepared though. But we have a lot of features that are made for CPAs to help them with that.
Okay, awesome. And then what about the security of the site? So one of my questions that I had written down was just like, when I was doing my research was that I could file this on the FinCEN website. And so like, what are the security features that is part of TaxBandits that would cause people to file with TaxBandits instead of just going to FinCEN?
There's actually several different ones. So we have a secure site all around. We start you with, as soon as you create your account with TaxBandits with a one-time access code to verify your email that it is you. Then we have the two-factor authentication, and we have that in several different places throughout your account. So you'll set that up. We have where you can have your staff members on there so they can do that. And on their accounts, we have the two-factor authentication as well as any recipients that you have. We have a Bandit Connect portal where your recipients would go through and you can give them access. They set up their two-factor authentication. You guys can talk through that as well as your team members can talk to the clients through that. It gives you a place to put the information that is secure and safe, and there's no outside email or texting. Everything is done in one secure location.
And then kind of my last is how do I file? Like, where do I go to file? And again, why would I choose TaxBandits over the FinCEN website?
I mean, the biggest part, in addition to our security, because obviously that's a huge priority, especially if you were a preparer working with client details, that's a lot to keep straight and keep secure. But whether it's your company or your client, with TaxBandits, the number one thing is record keeping. So if you're already using us, you already have a lot of the information in your TaxBandits account. You're not having to go somewhere else and manually enter it somewhere else or have your team do that. All of that increases the chance of human error on those reports. But even if you're not using TaxBandits already, which you should be, adding the business information to your account will save it in your address book. So from there, you're able to populate the BOI report. You're able to, we have validations and error checks through the other forms in TaxBandits. We have the same thing in the BOI report. So we're prompting you if you've missed something. We're prompting you if there's something you don't need to complete. Like, we haven't really touched on company applicants, but sometimes company applicant details are required. It depends on the information you input. So we're adding a lot of those convenience features that are helping you make sure that you're submitting accurately. And then when you are submitting that report, whether it is the initial report, the updated report, the corrected report, the newly exempt, whatever it may be, you have a record of that in your account with us. It's separated by entity. So even if you're a business, but you have multiple EINs that you have to report under, that's, again, a lot to keep straight. And so we're keeping all of that organized. Then if you do go, oh my gosh, what we moved last month and I keep putting the old address on stuff, what did I put on that report? You can actually go into your account with us and you can see what you put on the first one. So you know if you need to file a corrected one, or if something changes and you're like, I can't remember, like, what did I do on that first one? When you go to do your updated report, like, all of those records are available there for you. You have proof of filing, because we don't have to go deep into them, but there are some pretty steep penalties associated with not completing the BOI report. So you have that status that comes back to your account that you, again, have a record of.
And these are all things that are not available if you go through FinCEN.
With the FinCEN site, it's very much like you go there, you have to manually key in everything every time. You cannot stop part of the way through and go verify something. If you need to go get your ID, or if you need your client's ID, or whatever it may be, you're not able to go get those details and like come back and continue where you left off like you are with TaxBandits. Exactly. You have to start the manual entry process over. There's just not a good way to like collect and store and retrieve and keep up with all of those details. It's not, this is what we do. So our site is just very intuitive on its own. Like the application, the account, it's all very intuitive. We're also we're focused on helping and providing a service where that is just sort of a tool.
Right.
So for us, we have the support team available year round by phone, email, and chat. We're constantly making it more efficient based on feedback that we get from clients. For the preparers, Tiffanie mentioned Bandit Connect, we're giving you a secure way to get the ID from your client and to have them provide the stuff that you don't have.
Right.
So all of those things are not things that you're going to see with the other options that are out there.
Right. Well, and again, circling back to the ID. So can you just briefly, as a tax preparer, how would can you talk me through how efficient that part is of sending that notification that this is the information I need and what they can do and how quickly that can happen for you as the preparer, CPA, whatever.
Absolutely. So it's so cool. So Bandit Connect, What that is obviously you're the preparer, you have the account with us, but you are able to go in and brand this portal so you can have your own logo, you can have your own, like, obviously you have brand colors. You can match the colors and the layout of this portal to mimic your site essentially, so that when your clients are being prompted to go there to provide you information, it's seamless. It's creating like a brand experience for them.
Right.
So you brand this portal in your TaxBandits account. It's set up in really easy steps, so it just walks you through it. You know, you're not coding. You're just saving like your image logo. You're picking a color. Like, it's very, very simple. But after you save
And your favorite icon.
your favicon, if you will. Correct. So once you've added those things, you've picked all of that information. TaxBandits prompts you to, invite your clients to sign in and provide information through this portal. You can add them all at one time. Again, you can start typing, and we're pulling from your address book, so you don't have to add everything. You don't have to know their email address. You don't even have to go get their email address. If it's in your account with us already, you just start typing their business name, and there it all is.
Yeah.
So you could set all those invites at one time. They're securely going to each of your clients. It's not intermingling any of that information. Like, if you got, you get an invite, I get an invite, like, they're all separate. And then if I'm your client, I get that branded email. So I go, my CPA needs me to do this thing. I better get on that. So I sign in, and TaxBandits, much like our fashion, is the portal walks them through. So I get step 1 is I verify this piece of information. And then step 2, and you also get to control, like, do you want me to see everything? Yes. Do you want me to just give you my ID?
Right.
Like, you have that control, but I go through and I just check and verify an update. I can upload my ID. It's like, everything is tracked in a log. So you have record of everything that I've done, everything that I've approved. And I click submit, and then it just shows back up in your account. So you can go in and literally click submit on your side. Like, I can do a lot of the work, like, without even feeling like I've done anything.
Like, not even a lot. Like, we're talking like 95%
Correct.
of the work your clients do.
Literally, yes. Like, you've sent me an invite and you've clicked submit.
Right.
Like, obviously you can go in and you can review. So you are in control.
Right.
But
The
I am able
time
to.
part of it.
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
so time efficient, especially for CPAs who are filing hundreds and hundreds of these for their
Yes.
clients. It's very efficient.
Absolutely.
for them.
And with it being so new, like, having the client provide you what's required
Right.
takes some of that off of you. Like, you're not having to do guesswork or make assumptions. I've given you this. I've said, this is my information. So
And
Yeah.
you
it's
don't have to
faster.
wait
It's,
on them to get it to you via email or whatever.
oh my gosh,
You can just-
faxes.
Oh, yes,
yes.
faxes. By fax.
People still fax stuff, and I can't imagine if somebody's like, here's all my paperwork in a box. Could you please
Yeah.
deal with this?
So I think, I mean, what I'm hearing is that whether I'm a business owner myself and I'm coming to TaxBandits to file, the process is quick and easy and walks me through the steps so that I'm not confused and I'm not manually entering everything and scared that I'm not going to have a record of it. TaxBandits will still keep record of my filing if it's just me filing for my own business. But then we also have options available for those larger clients who are filing for multiple businesses, if they have multiple EINs or whatever that might be, or service providers or tax preparers who are filing for their clients. So it's kind of across the board, we have those options available.
Yes, definitely.
I think that was really all of my questions about the BOI.
Because TaxBandits makes it so simple.
Well, we appreciate it. And as always, you can leave any comments or questions in the comments box below. And I hope you have a great day.